It's getting pretty chilly here, and I don't know about you, but my family's been asking me for some pumpkin recipes, so since fall's coming up, I guess that's what I'm gonna do. So follow me in my kitchen here, and I'm gonna show you 2 pumpkin recipes today. So the first recipe is going to be one that's going to take a little longer because it's going to be a sourdough long fermented recipe. It's going to be a pumpkin roll. And the second recipe is going to be more of a quick recipe that you can do, only a few minutes before you want to eat them. So to start with, we're going to go ahead and mill the flour for the pumpkin roll, which is going to be our sourdough recipe. So I'm going to start that tonight, and then tomorrow I'm going to finish it, show you how I do that. So then I'm going to start the muffins tomorrow, and then I'm going to show you what I end up doing. To start with, I'm going to do about 1/3 a cup of soft white wheat. And I'm going to do about 1/3 a cup of spelt. A little less. Okay. I don't know if you can see, but these 2 different berries look very different. So you have the soft white up here, and the spelt's down here. It's a little more red. It's a little bigger, but it's kind of neat to see how each wheat berry looks a little bit different than each other. I love these containers. They have the nice wide mouths for sugar and anything, and you could just easily scoop a whole cup out of there without any issues. If you would like, I've had some people ask, I'll put a link below to the storage bins if you're interested. Then I'm going to go ahead and mill this into the flour. Okay, and that's going to give me about 1 cup of flour. And to that 1 cup of flour, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. I've got my sourdough starter Bubbles, and I'm going to do about a 1/2 cup of that. Now, he's really liquidy today because it's been a while. I got a little bit of a late start to filming this. Had some other things going on. Okay, and to that, we're going to use, I have a can of pumpkin here. This is just plain pumpkin. This isn't the pumpkin pie filling or anything like that. You could bake off your own, which I actually considered doing, but I ran out of some time. So we're going to go with a 1/2 can of pumpkin. There's no other additives or anything in this. I'm just going to open that up. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball that. And it's, whoops. Then it's going to be probably about a 1/2 can. And the other 1/2 of the can I'm going to save in the refrigerator for tomorrow for the pumpkin muffin recipe. It'll probably end up being like a pumpkin spice recipe. I'm going to put this lid back on here. Okay. I'm going to give that a stir. We've got it all in here to combine. I'm making a mess all over the place. And then this is actually going to sit overnight, and then I will finish it off in the morning. I've got some, I just made a batch of yogurt yesterday, so I went ahead and did that trick that I had showed you in the yogurt recipe to make my own cream cheese for the filling for this. So I went ahead and did that yesterday, so I would have some cream cheese ready to go for tomorrow. If you want to take a look at that yogurt and cream cheese video, I will try to remember to put a link for you in the description and maybe up here somewhere, so you can watch that after this one's all done. Okay, so this is where I'm at, and I'm just going to cover this to keep anything from getting into it, and I'm going to let this sit overnight on my countertop. That way tomorrow I can add the rest of the ingredients, and then it will be ready to bake and then bake, fill, assemble, and ready to eat. So my family is very excited about this. They've actually been asking me for a pumpkin roll, I think, at least from springtime. So pumpkin's a little bit harder to find off season. So we finally were able to get enough so that I could start practicing some recipes so we would have a successful recipe. So I'm sharing it with you. I will go ahead and type the recipe below in the description box for you if you're interested. So I'm going to cover this. It's going to sit overnight, and then tomorrow I will show you how I finish it off. Okay, so now it's the next day, and I'm going to go ahead and finish off the pumpkin roll. So I'll let you take a look and see what that looks like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 eggs. And 3. Okay, and I'm going to use my Christmas spatula. I never showed it to you up close. It's just simple and plain, but I like it. I'm going to stir that around. Okay, so I'm going to preheat the oven to 375 degrees, and we're going to bake it for about 15 minutes. I'm going to line my pan with some parchment paper so it doesn't stick to my pan, and I like to just kind of push it down in there. I have a 9x13 baking sheet, which I think is like a quarter sheet baking sheet. If you have a jelly roll pan, that would probably be better. I think that's like 15x17, but that won't fit in my oven. So this is what we have, and it's just going to be just a little bit thicker. Okay, so to the batter, back to the batter, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of salt. I have just sea salt here. Sprinkle that in. Did I say a 1/4 cup? Again. 1/4 teaspoon. You're going to do a tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. Now you can make this on your own. You could add cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and clove. I just have this, and it makes it super convenient, and it tastes good. So I'm going to sprinkle that in. And then I'm going to do about 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I have my homemade vanilla extract, and it looks like it's about time for me to make some more, so I may go ahead and show you how I do that, just so I can top it off so my vanilla beans are covered. If you can see, they're starting to stick out. I don't want them to get dry. I could cut them in half. Alright, that's what it looks like now. I'm going to stir that in. And I'm going to save the baking soda to the end. After I get this incorporated, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of sugar. I have raw cane sugar. I'm going to just put that 1/2 cup of sugar right in. Alright. Stir that in. I want to make sure that the spices get all incorporated so that I don't have one that's very cinnamony and another that's plain. So we want it to be evenly distributed throughout the batter. This is the consistency of the batter. I'm working on getting another view for you so you can actually see what I'm doing while I'm doing it a little bit better, but take me a little bit to get it. So hopefully I'll get that for you soon. Okay, to that I'm going to add a teaspoon of baking soda, and that should start reacting. This is a 1/2 teaspoon measure because my teaspoon one was dirty. Put that lid back on. That will start reacting with the sourdough so that it'll start to kind of rise. So I'm going to mix that in. And it should start kind of bubbling and frothing pretty quickly. Okay, so you can see how it preheat's ready. You can see how it's just kind of starting to rise a little and get a little bit foamy. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to pour that into my baking sheet with my parchment paper. And once that's in there, I'm going to spread it evenly around. distributed there. Smells like pumpkin spice. Just get it in all the corners and try to make it the same thickness throughout. And I'm going to set that aside because I'm actually going to just reuse the same bowl and the same spatula for the muffins that I'm going to make, since it's pretty much all the same ingredients. So here that is. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that in the oven at, like I said, 375 for 15 minutes. So while that's baking, I'm going to go ahead and get started on the muffins. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mill 3/4 cup of soft white wheat berries and 3/4 cup of spelt berries, so that it's going to give me about a total of 2 1/4 cup of flour or so. I'm going to go ahead and get that started milling so I can get started on the pumpkin muffins. Okay, so there's my flour. Like I said, I just put it right back in the same bowl that I was just using because most of our ingredients are going to be about the same. Okay, so to the flour, I'm going to add a teaspoon of baking soda powder, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of baking soda. I'm going to go ahead and add about a half a tablespoon of the pumpkin pie spice. Oops. It may end up being closer to a tablespoon. Not quite. Okay, I'm going to just stir those dry ingredients together. I'm going to get 1 egg. Almost dropped the whole thing in. Was it really that easy?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I have my homemade plain yogurt, and I'm going to use this instead of what you would use for buttermilk or, you know, whatever your liquid is. But I'm going to try to use about a cup of this. I'm sorry, a half a cup of this. Give or take. A little more. Go with that. Okay, I'm going to put that back in the refrigerator. You could use your vanilla yogurt also, but that's kind of precious to my family right now because I haven't made it for a while. Okay, then I'm going to take the other half of that canned pumpkin that we used yesterday, and I'm just going to plop that in there also. I'm going to do a half a cup of sugar and where's my oil? A half a cup of olive oil. You can use any oil that you want. So if I wasn't using pumpkin, I probably would have used more of the yogurt, but because I know that the pumpkin is going to add a lot of moisture to my batter, I went ahead and cut it back to the half a cup of yogurt and or buttermilk. Let's just stir that up. I want to make sure that the spices and the pumpkin and the flour is all evenly mixed. Okay. Smells like pumpkin pie. I think I'm going to go ahead and add just a tad more of the pumpkin pie spice. So it probably will be closer to a whole tablespoon. But I really like the flavor of that. I mean, more cinnamon, you can't complain, right? Alright. Looks like that's pretty good and incorporated. That's where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and get the muffin tin, and I'm going to sprinkle the rice at the bottom, the little trick I showed you at the other muffin recipes. And I'm going to line them, and then I will get them ready to bake. So we have about 5 minutes left on our pumpkin roll. So we were able to make this while we were waiting for that to bake. This should make 12 regular size muffins. It would make more mini muffins, obviously, and less of the giant muffins. Open up my new pack. I should have got really cute ones with like pumpkins or jack-o'-lanterns or something like that on them, but I didn't think about it until just now. Okay, that's gone. And I'm just going to kind of tap those just to get the tops to kind of level out. And then there's 25 seconds left on the cake, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that out before I put these in. These are going to end up baking for 400 degrees, and I'm going to put them in for about 20 minutes. It smells like Thanksgiving. So there's that. Just going to set that here. And I'm going to go ahead and try to roll it up while it's hot and try not to burn myself. So it is a little bit thicker than your average pumpkin roll just because I don't have the bigger pan. Ooh, it's hot. Let me grab this. Okay. A little bit of this got stuck to the edge, so I want to make sure I just kind of go around the edge. This side doesn't seem to have it. Okay. Alright. Try this again without burning myself. I really just want to use my hands. Okay. It's very hot. Okay, I'm going to let that just kind of sit there. We've got it all rolled up. It's sitting on the edge. Hopefully I don't get any cracks like I did with my Swiss cake roll one. If you want to see that video, I'll put a link in the description and maybe put a link up here so you can check that out after you're done watching this one. So I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 400 degrees for the pumpkin muffins. And since it was already hot, it shouldn't take very long for that to preheat. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then as these are baking and as this is cooling, I'm going to go ahead and make the cream cheese filling for the pumpkin roll. Okay, so as those are baking, I'm going to go ahead and use my mixer here, and I'm going to make up the cream cheese buttercream filling mixture. So I guess I'll put this backwards so I can show you better. If you want a link to my amazing mixer here, I'll put that below too. I love how lightweight it is, how little space that it takes up. Perfect. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put my beater attachment in. And I'm going to put my bowl in the little slot here. And I went ahead and remember last night when I mixed up the sourdough, I pulled out the butter. So I'm going to go ahead and just use a stick of butter, and this is very softened. I'm going to go ahead and just get that a little mix by itself first. Okay, and all mostly just stuck in the top, which is normal. I'm going to use about a half a cup of powdered sugar. at first. We'll see if I need to add anything to that. I might, we'll see. And I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons or so of my vanilla. Okay, I'm going to get my other spatula. Since my Christmas spatula has egg on it, this one I'm going to get a clean one. Alright, so this is where I'm at. You can see that. I'm going to let that go on high for a little bit longer. Oops, dogs will be happy. I'm going to let that go on high a little bit longer, and then I'm going to get the homemade cream cheese that we have, and I'm going to put that in there. You don't want to put the cream cheese in at the beginning. If you see one of my other recipes, I had an issue with it incorporating. Part of the reason was because I hadn't strained it long enough, but the other reason was because I put it in first with the butter. So we had better results when we took the butter and the powdered sugar and then mix that up till it was fluffy, and then add in the cream cheese mixture. So just a little tip there if you didn't know. Okay, so you can see that's much thicker there. And that, I know it doesn't look like much, but I'm not done yet. I'm gonna add some cream cheese. So you can use regular, just any cream cheese, but as you all know, if you've been watching me for a while, we have lactose sensitivity. So if I make our homemade cream cheese from the Fairlife milk, then we don't tend to have an issue. And it's opened up a whole world of possibilities for our family because we had avoided dairy for so long, but now this made it so that we could start incorporating things. So I've just had to keep learning and educating and finding different things that I can make with the Fairlife milk so that we don't have an issue. And it tastes just like, it is dairy milk still, and it tastes just like regular milk. It's not super sweet like some of the other milk alternatives or lactose-free milks. So let me grab the cream cheese. And if you want to make Greek yogurt, or if you want to make cream cheese at home, one of these is a lifesaver. So I usually just make my yogurt in the 3 different containers. That way I can make a cream cheese also, and then I can only just do it one time. It's super handy. So this also, I'll just pour it right into here, and then it will stay in my refrigerator in this for probably a week or 2, even up to. So if you're someone that wants whey, you also have a nice, I'll try not to spill it, a nice amount of whey in the bottom here. If you can see it, I'll shake it. Okay, this was a quart of the Fairlife milk, and it's going to give me probably close to an 8-ounce cream cheese package. So that's what you would use if you were just using regular cream cheese. I will link this little strainer, this handy dandy strainer thing here below, in case you're interested in making your own Greek yogurt or cream cheese. So if you can see the texture of the cream cheese, it's pretty thick. If you want Greek yogurt, you would just not strain it for as long, and then you would just pull it right out. Okay, I like to try to get every last bit that I can. What's left over, somebody could use on a bagel. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just, there that is mixed in there. I'm just going to help it a little bit by giving it a little fold in here. I am making a mess everywhere. It's real life. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start incorporating that. And I don't want to whip it too long, because if you whip cream cheese too long, it can become soupy. So I actually kind of like that texture. If you can see that. So I think I'm happy with that. Now let me just give it a taste. It's sweet enough. That's really good. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the fridge. and let it sit until my pumpkin roll cake part of it gets cool enough so that I can fill it, so that way it doesn't all run out. So let me go ahead and cover that and pop that in the fridge. Okay, here's the pumpkin muffins, and they smell absolutely delicious. Like fall, Thanksgiving, pumpkin, I don't know. Just really good. Okay, I'm going to let those cool down. The cake is still cooling, so whenever it's ready to fill, I will show you that part. Guys, it's finished. It's cooled. It's ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the cream cheese filling that we made earlier, and I'm going to get it ready to put on there. It's gonna have a little rip. Hopefully it'll just stay to the inside. Then I'm just going to dust the top of it with powdered sugar. Check out this cute little spoon that we found. I'll link it below if you're interested. Okay, and to take these muffins to the next level, I'm actually going to use some of the leftover of the filling that I have, and I'm going to just take my just regular spoon, and the back of it, I'm just going to push it in the muffin and just kind of carve out a little hole so that I can use the filling to put inside. Wow, look at that. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch my video today about the 2 pumpkin recipes. And if you saw anything that you like, I hope you'll give me a like and maybe subscribe so you can see what I'm cooking up next in my RV. And leave a comment below if you have any great ideas for me of something that you would like to see. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you for stopping by Grains in Small Places. Goodbye.